what if the smartphone in your pocket, the ultimate modern multitasking tool, operated on the exact same underlying principles as a 100-million-year-old rock?
I mean, it sounds like sci-fi, but it's a fascinating comparison.
Right. Welcome to today's deep dive. I am your host, and today we're doing something really cool. We are heavily conditioned in the realm of metaphysical wellness to use a one-to-one approach.
Oh, absolutely. Like you want to focus. You grab one specific stone.
Exactly. Or you want to ground your anxiety, you reach for another, and you end up curating this heavy metaphorical toolbox where every single problem requires a different highly specialized instrument.
And that creates a highly fragmented way to manage your energy, to be honest. When you rely on single-purpose tools, you are essentially treating symptoms in isolation rather than, addressing your energy as a cohesive, interconnected system.
Which brings us to the mission of this deep dive. We are exploring a fascinating shortcut to holistic well-being based on source texts detailing a very unique, naturally occurring material. It's known as Super 7, or sometimes referred to as Melody Stone or Sacred 7.
Yeah, and the claims around it are massive.
They really are. So the goal today is to move past those surface-level claims and dissect the actual mechanics of what they call a true master healer. The sources we're looking at claim this single mineral composite operates across the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels simultaneously.
Which is a lot for one stone to handle.
Right. It doesn't just tackle one isolated block. It actively works to align all of your energy centers, all your chakras, at the exact same time.
And that requires an immense amount of energetic bandwidth. The core premise here is that if you're trying to optimize your state of being, you don't necessarily need a complicated, 10-stone daily ritual.
Nobody has time for that anyway.
Exactly. You need a system that can handle heavy lifting across multiple frequencies without crashing or, requiring constant recalibration.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand how a single stone manages that kind of massive bandwidth, we really have to look at the hardware.
A physical makeup.
Right. So Super 7 is composed of 7 distinct minerals. I'll just list them out. We've got amethyst, clear quartz, smoky quartz, cacoxenite, goethite, lepidocrasite, and rutile.
Quite the lineup.
It is. But my immediate thought reading this was about interference. Like, if you play 7 different songs on 7 different speakers in the exact same room, you don't get a symphony.
No, you get a migraine.
Exactly. You get static and a headache. So how did these 7 very different minerals avoid canceling each other out in just a chaotic mess of energetic noise?
Well, the texts explain this through a concept known as vibrational harmony and integration.
Okay, what does that actually mean?
Instead of visualizing 7 competing signals fighting for dominance, imagine a highly structured, naturally occurring integrated circuit.
Like on the motherboard.
Exactly like that. Within the physical, geometric, crystalline lattice of the stone, these minerals are locked into a very specific relationship. Their frequencies actually complement and sequence one another perfectly.
So they're phased in a way that creates constructive interference.
Yes.
Like the peaks and troughs of their individual energetic waves align to build a single, stronger, overall signal rather than just flatlining each other.
You've got it. Let's actually trace how that circuit flows. It helps to picture it. So at the highest frequency end of the spectrum, you have amethyst and cacoxenite.
Which are usually associated with the upper chakras, right?
Right. Their vibrational signatures resonate specifically with the crown and third eye chakras. The sources detail their role as the system's receivers.
Receivers for what exactly?
Tuning into intuition, higher awareness, broader spiritual guidance. They operate on a very fine ethereal frequency.
Okay, so that's the top end. What happens as the energy moves down?
As it moves down the spectrum, lepidocrasite bridges the gap. The texts link it heavily to the heart center.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so if the top minerals are pulling in this high-level abstract data, the lepidocrasite translates that data into emotional resonance, like love, compassion, and emotional intelligence.
It acts as the vital emotional processor then, before the energy moves into the denser, more physical frequencies.
Precisely. And this is where rutile and goethite engage. Rutile operates like an energetic accelerator for the solar plexus.
Taking that translated emotional energy and turning it into willpower.
Willpower and focused, actionable intention. And then goethite stabilizes that sudden burst of power. It anchors it into your physical reality so it doesn't just burn off as nervous tension.
Which I feel like is a huge problem for people. They get all this energy and just get anxious.
Exactly. And then we hit the bedrock, which is the smoky quartz.
Right. The texts describe this as the ultimate grounding mechanism, the element that absorbs and neutralizes environmental static.
Yeah. But the real linchpin here, the thing that turns this from just a random assortment of colorful rocks into an integrated motherboard, is the clear quartz.
Ah, okay. The amplifier.
Clear quartz is the silicon of this natural circuit. It provides the structural matrix and acts as the master amplifier. It takes the highly specialized frequencies of the other 6 minerals, magnifies them, and projects them outward in a unified, coherent field.
Wow.
And what's fascinating here is that this specific structure forces a fluid, continuous dialogue between your energy centers.
So you can't just isolate a heart issue or ignore a mental block.
Mm.
Super 7 pushes the entire system into a forced synergistic equilibrium.
It demands that the different departments of your body and mind actually communicate with each other.
Okay, but this brings up a massive contradiction in the source material that I really want to push back on.
Sure, let's hear it.
When we talk about spiritual awakening, which, this stone is heavily famous for, the goal is almost always ascension, upward movement, expanding into those high amethyst frequencies.
Right, floating up.
Yeah. So why is the heavy earthly gravity of smoky quartz so crucial to this process? Doesn't the sheer density of smoky quartz inherently drag down that high vibrational state you're trying to achieve?
It sounds totally counterintuitive, I know, but the texts argue that unchecked high frequency is actually a massive vulnerability.
How so?
Well, without a grounding mechanism, severe spiritual expansion leads to structural instability in your energy field. The sources describe this as becoming disassociated.
Like spacing out.
Exactly. You're pulling in all this high-level intuitive data, but your physical nervous system just can't process it, leaving you feeling lightheaded, unmoored, or entirely unable to function in your day-to-day earthly reality.
Basically, your hardware overheats because there's nowhere for the excess current to go.
That's a perfect way to put it. The smoky quartz and goethite don't act as weights dragging you down. They act as a conductive grounding wire.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
They create a safe, resilient, energetic container. You can run massive amounts of spiritual current through your system only because the smoky quartz is continuously channeling the excess voltage down into the earth.
It anchors the expansion so that the higher wisdom you're accessing can actually be integrated and applied in your physical life, rather than just leaving you floating in an esoteric haze.
Which becomes incredibly vital when we look at the emotional release protocols outlined in these texts. This isn't just about achieving some state of perpetual detached bliss.
Right. The text describes Super 7 as a highly active agent for processing deep, stagnant trauma.
And deep emotional processing requires an absolute sense of safety. Because the smoky quartz provides that unbreakable ground wire, the stone can operate securely as an energetic vacuum.
I really want to break down the vacuum mechanism because the physics of it are just wild.
They really are.
So the clear quartz amplifies the suction, right? Actively drawing out stagnant emotional debris. And the smoky quartz acts as the heavy-duty filter, absorbing the low-frequency trauma.
Yes.
But what prevents you from just re-experiencing all that agonizing pain as it's being pulled to the surface of your mind? I mean, that sounds awful.
That is where the lepidocrosite comes in.
The heartstone.
Exactly. As the trauma is being pulled through your energy field, the lepidocrosite floods the entire system with a specific frequency of unconditional love and self-compassion.
Oh, wow.
It alters the fundamental resonance of the memory itself. You aren't swept away by a raw tidal wave of old grief or anger because the stone's integrated circuit forces that memory to be processed through a lens of extreme emotional safety.
So the debris is neutralized at the exact moment it's removed.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean when you are just trying to navigate, say, a high-stakes meeting or push through a massive creative block?
Well, think about it. Once you vacuum out all that underlying emotional static, your mind is suddenly given a massive amount of free bandwidth.
Right, you're not wasting energy repressing things.
Precisely. The source's transition from this deep trauma works straight into cognitive optimization, eradicating brain fog, sharpening the intellect, cutting through procrastination.
Which brings us to a specific text we looked at, Crystals by Rob. This source introduces a very specific technological framework. They don't just call it a healing stone, they designate Super 7 as the master integrated system of the mineral world.
They literally refer to it as the CPU of your energetic architecture.
A central processing unit. I mean, that is a very bold title to put on a naturally occurring composite.
It is, but the text justifies it by framing the stone for a specific user profile. They call this user the soul architect.
The soul architect, what does that mean?
They define this as someone operating at a very high frequency, juggling complex energetic and physical realities who simply cannot afford to have their internal system lag. the stone optimizes the internal framework autonomously.
Okay, let's go back to the CPU analogy. If the clear quartz clears out the mental junk files and frees up the RAM, the rutile takes over, right?
Right.
Because the sources describe rutile as these fine energetic strands within the stone. In a CPU context, they act like the highly conductive directive pathways on a motherboard.
Yes, the Wi-Fi antennas.
Yeah. They take your newly freed cognitive energy and route it with absolute laser precision toward whatever outcome you are actively trying to manifest.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, optimizing that CPU isn't just about raw productivity. It translates directly into authentic personal power.
Because you're not distracted anymore.
Exactly. When your energy field isn't constantly leaking power through unhealed wounds or, burning out from scattered focus, you achieve a highly concentrated state of presence.
So the amethyst clears out the ambient anxiety, that self-doubting background noise we all carry, while the goethite steps in to provide raw, grounded courage.
It fundamentally shifts how you interact with the world around you. You develop the mental clarity to identify your boundaries, the emotional safety to trust those boundaries, and the grounded power to actually enforce them.
You speak your truth and act with integrity, undisturbed by external pressure or judgment, because your internal circuit is fully closed and self-sustaining.
Exactly.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Right. Because if this stone is acting as an autonomous CPU, constantly vacuuming emotional debris, routing intentions, maintaining a ground wire, projecting a unified field, it should be burning through its energetic reserves.
It should be completely depleted.
Yeah. In standard crystal maintenance, a stone doing that much heavy lifting would need constant recalibration. You'd have to cleanse it in salt water, bury it in the dirt, or charge it under a full moon.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
But the sources universally claim Super 7 never needs cleansing or charging. It is a literal perpetual motion machine.
Which, in the framework of crystal metaphysics, is a massive anomaly. Most highly absorbent stones, like black tourmaline or obsidian, act like sponges.
Right, they soak it all up.
Yeah, they fill up with the negative static they absorb and eventually stop functioning until you manually clear them.
So how does Super 7 defy the physics of this system? What is the actual mechanism keeping it operating at 100% capacity indefinitely?
It comes back to the continuous feedback loop created by the clear quartz and the smoky quartz. It's a self-canceling loop.
Okay, walk me through that.
The clear quartz acts as an infinite power source, continuously pulling in and amplifying ambient universal energy. As the smoky quartz absorbs low-frequency emotional or environmental static, it doesn't just store it in the lattice.
Like a sponge would.
Right. Instead, the hyper-amplified energy from the clear quartz immediately hits that dark static and forces it to transmute.
So the friction of the high-frequency matrix literally burns off the low-frequency debris the exact moment it enters the stone.
Yes. The negative energy is instantly neutralized back into a baseline unpolarized state. Because it transmutes energy in real time rather than storing it, the internal hygiene of the crystal is permanently maintained without any external intervention.
Which creates a massive secondary benefit. I mean, if the stone is constantly projecting this intensely high, self-purifying frequency, it acts as an ultimate low-maintenance shield for your personal aura.
Definitely. The amethyst provides the primary guard against what the texts call psychic attack.
Which is essentially intentional or unintentional projections of negative energy from other people.
Right, just bad vibes, basically.
Right.
But the shield isn't just a static wall. Because the combined frequency of the 7 minerals is so exceptionally high, it creates an active repulsion field.
It fundamentally alters the resonance of the space around you. Like if you walk into a room thick with ambient stress or sit down for a highly hostile conversation, those heavy, slow-moving energetic waves literally cannot synchronize with the rapid, high-frequency pulse of the Super 7.
They bounce right off.
Because there's no harmonic match. You remain inside your own clear, energetic perimeter, completely insulated from the drain of your environment.
It's like wearing energetic noise-canceling headphones.
I love that analogy. Okay, so we understand the mechanics of this perpetual CPU, the emotional vacuum, and the high vibrational shield.
The theory is solid.
Right, but how do you actually integrate this into the physical rhythm of your life? The sources move past the theory and detail very specific, actionable ways to deploy this tool. One of the most direct applications is using it for a total systemic reset.
Yeah, rather than carrying a pocket full of different stones for different ailments, the texts suggest a focused, 15 to 30-minute session where the Super 7 is placed directly on the body.
Just lying down with it.
Exactly. Given its dual nature, resting it on the solar plexus targets the complex web of anxiety and lost willpower, while placing it on the heart center directly addresses emotional stagnation and unreleased grief.
You're essentially plugging the master node directly into the areas of highest resistance and letting the integrated circuit force the energy back into alignment.
It's a very active reset.
But you don't even have to be that active with it. The environmental placement method is fascinating because of how entirely passive it is. You can just set a Super 7 cluster on your desk while you're deep in a complex project.
And it just sits there, running its ambient CPU process, repelling external distractions and routing your mental focus via those rutile pathways.
And the passive application extends beautifully into sleep as well. Placing it near the bed introduces the stone's frequency to your subconscious mind, while your conscious defenses are entirely down.
The amethyst and cacoxenite are particularly active here. They work to stimulate prophetic dreams and deep-state spiritual insights.
While the smoky quartz ensures that any subconscious trauma processed during REM sleep is safely neutralized before you even wake up.
It's doing the heavy lifting while you sleep, and because we've established it as an infinite power source, you can use it to hack the rest of your crystal collection.
Yes, the sources talk extensively about using it as the central battery in a crystal grid.
Right. If you're laying out a geometric pattern of specific stones to manifest a highly targeted goal, placing the Super 7 at the exact center changes the dynamic entirely.
It acts as the master amplifier.
Exactly. Pumping its high vibrational self-sustaining energy outward into all the secondary stones. It supercharges their individual properties and dramatically accelerates the timeline of the intention you're setting.
It becomes the central reactor.
Yeah.
There is also a very tactile physical application mentioned in the texts. If you have been moving through a dense environment, say a crowded airport, hospital, or just a highly charged corporate space, and you feel that energetic grime physically sticking to you, you could perform an active aura sweep.
This one is very hands-on. You hold the stone and slowly pass it over the contours of your body just a few inches away without actually making physical contact.
Like scanning yourself.
Exactly. It's a conscious, energetic extraction.
Yeah.
You are utilizing the smoky quartz's vacuum property to manually pull the stagnant accumulation out of your field, while the clear quartz instantly purifies the space left behind,
leaving you with a completely clean slate.
It's incredibly effective.
So, looking across all these texts, the core value proposition of Super 7 is undeniable. It's presented as the ultimate holistic shortcut. It houses the deeply contradictory states of profound spiritual awakening and heavy earthly grounding within a single self-sustaining matrix.
It's doing everything at once.
Right. It clears the mental RAM for hyperfocus, routes your intentions, and generates an impenetrable self-cleansing shield.
This raises an important question, though.
Okay, what is it?
Well, and we examine a tool built to synthesize the absolute extremes of our energetic experience. We have to look closely at what it is actually connecting us to.
That is a great point, because the source texts provide a staggering spectrum of associations for the energy centers this stone activates.
The contrast is wild.
It really is. Consider the crown chakra, which is activated by the amethyst and cacoxenite. The texts link this center to the archangel Metatron, to soaring eagles and ravens.
Very high up.
Right, to the expansive gas giant Jupiter, and even to deities like Zeus and Buddha. This is the absolute zenith of celestial, ethereal existence.
Concurrently, that exact same piece of mineral composite anchors you forcefully to the root chakra, and the associations the texts provide for the root are the absolute antithesis of the celestial.
The complete opposite.
Yeah, we are looking at earthworms, ants, and bears, the folklore of gnomes and dwarfs, subterranean dirt roots like ashwagandha and dandelion, the heavy, restrictive, undeniable gravity of the planet Saturn.
It is literally the archangel Metatron on one side and an earthworm on the other, Zeus and a dandelion root. The absolute limits of the cosmic and the subterranean housed flawlessly in a single integrated circuit.
It's an incredible paradox.
It is. And that is the thought we want to leave you with today. If this unique mineral composite truly acts as the master system these texts claim it is, what does it mean for your own personal power to hold a single object that effortlessly bridges the ultimate celestial heights with the deepest, most primal earthly depths? Until next time, keep digging.